Minobamatse, living a good life. For Anishinaabe, they have the 7 values, the 7 teachings. And those 7 values, those 7 teachings, that's who we're supposed to be as Anishinaabe people. We're supposed to have the courage, the strength, the wisdom. That's supposed to be how we walk our path in life. They say that means courage, having a strong heart. And people want to always associate having a strong heart with going to battle or being strong, fighting people. But having a strong heart is sharing your life experience with others, sharing your knowledge, sharing your teachings with the hopes that they'll have a better life.
Learning how to build a sweat lodge, learning how to build a long lodge. They've learned about some ceremonies. They've got to experience a sweat lodge, scraping buffalo hides. We've done a lot of cool stuff here.
It's like an immersion. You know, we wanted to immerse them. I don't want this just to be an experience where they get an extra credit for school or an extra credit for college. I want it to be more than that, like a spiritual experience for them.
Indigenous people in general, they have historical trauma. Historical trauma comes from oppression, and that historical trauma stays with us. When we learn European ways, European values from Eurocentric education, it doesn't get rid of our historical trauma.
Because their whole lives, a lot of these youth, they're always taught. George Washington's our first president, and Abraham Lincoln's did this for this people, and you know, they're taught a lot of these things about people who never liked us.
You have to look at all the things that we went through when the Europeans stepped out that boat, all the effects that it caused, and a lot of our elderly people were scared to even teach our kids because they didn't want to lose them.
For almost 100 years, our way of life was outlawed. If you got caught with a pipe, you'd probably go to prison. If you had a sweat lodge or any kind of lodge, they'd hunt you down and they'd take everything, they'd burn it, they'd put it in a pile and burn it, all your sacred objects.
I think it had to go underground for so long that the apprehension about letting people know where ceremonies were or what was going on for fear of being arrested or punished or whatever it might be, I think that carried on over the years. Then it got to a point where it was so quiet where you were afraid to even ask about it, because if you weren't invited, you felt like you weren't welcome, I'll say. So throughout my life, anytime I ever thought about it, I didn't know where to go or who to ask, and I was afraid that even if I did ask, I was going to be turned away.
Some of them old people, they tell stories, they would tie them up and beat them. So they had this extreme punishment for our language, the boarding schools and the laws. So there's this intimidation that comes with our way of life sometimes. From the older generations, they don't really respect it all the time. They don't support it. They kind of frown on it, and that rubs off on the youth, on the children. They carry these negative thoughts about our way of life. So that colonization, it worked for a lot of our people. A lot of Native youth, they suffer with nihilism. Nihilism is often an effect of historical trauma, so they don't feel too good about themselves. For being Anishinaabe, they don't feel too good about their history, their past, their community, and these affect their mental health over time.
It's difficult to go through life not knowing who you are, and even during some points of your life being ashamed of who you were, because anything that you ever learned about yourself was negative.
They've done research in the past on Indigenous youth and why there's so much suicide rates and so much alcoholism and drug use, especially amongst younger generations, and a lot of it is connected to not knowing who you are.
One thing that can help us heal from historical trauma is learning about ourselves, learning about being Anishinaabe, speaking our language, building our lodges, gathering our medicines, Being around these things, being around the drum, being around our relatives, our family, learning about yourself, probably the most important tool to heal from the trauma of our past.
I believe it's very important to teach our students about our root principles of these 7 teachings. When I was in school, we didn't have the opportunities that our kids have now to learn a strong traditional side of ourselves, and it gives them a sense of identity.
Identity is a big thing for me because you see kids acting like gangsters and this and that. That's not who you are, and I'm like, you're confused.
Honestly, this might keep them from drugs. This might keep them from alcohol. This might keep them from doing bad things, harming themselves, or getting in trouble, or going to prison.
The Anishinaabe way, we teach hands-on. This old man, that's how he told me. He said a long time ago, that's how you learn. And he said he put up a teepee one time and he did it wrong. So that old man who was teaching him made him take it down and do it again. And he didn't touch the teepee, he didn't help him, he just made him do it. He just coached him. And eventually he got it right. But once he got it right, he knew it. So sometimes as Anishinaabe people, it's important to go back to the old way of learning. Maybe they don't remember every word, every story, every teaching. Maybe they're not able to pass a written test, a written exam on what we did. But when they get their hands on it again, they'll know, they'll remember. And that's the old way of our people. Anishinaabe, that's our language. And how we speak, that's our worldview. That was a gift from Nanapush when the Creator sent him on that journey.
I'm a first language speaker, so to me, culture and language go hand in hand. It's almost you can't have one without the other.
A lot of our culture, in a sense, is language-based, where it's not really translatable to English. Learning the language is a big thing if you want to actually embrace your culture and learn about a lot of different ceremonies and stuff that goes on.
And every time I do a camp, I make sure we always start with language so they could carry those sounds, carry that memory of the language that we have. Because if we don't create new speakers, we're not going to have a language anymore. So our way of life was demonized, but also our language was demonized. It was taken from us in a way. And now we're trying to get it back, and it's an uphill battle.
To me, it's almost like they're confused and they don't know which way to go. But if you tell them, hey, you're Anishinaabe, this is how we speak, this is what we do. And then you see some of them just kind of like light up and really soak in.
So we got Corrine here, first language speaker. And I'm here, I'm a second language speaker. And we work together to develop all these language, the videos and the worksheets, the lesson plans. And we try and make it fun for them. Because again, Anishinaabe, learning something on a piece of paper, that don't mean you know it. But if you could really speak that language, that's different.
You got to give them structure and our language, and because it's almost kind of like they're lost. They're here and there and they're floating all over the place.
So we do all these exercises, all these games, and they learn that language. In a week, they'll go from not knowing a single word to shouting out the language without looking at a piece of paper or knowing anything. So we try and take that language and we want to give life to it again. We want to make sure they're using it, not just reading it off a piece of paper, but they got to know it. It has to be a part of them.
I have some of these students that are speaking so well, and it makes me proud to hear them. And I tell them so, you know.
Tewe gun, that's the drum. That means the heartbeat though. We all have that right here. We all carry that Tewe gun. A long time ago again, our way of life was outlawed, was demonized. So sometimes our drums are kind of treated poorly. Sometimes we get kicked out of places. I went places with my drum and they kicked me out because I had a drum. They asked me to leave. Sometimes when we go places, we're not very well respected. And that comes from that historical trauma. This old grandma, she told me we're salt and pepper shakers. Whenever they want us, they'll take us out of the cupboard and they'll sprinkle us. Okay, come sing at our event. And when we're done singing, they put us back. We don't need you no more. Then when they need us again, okay, we need a prayer. Get the salt and pepper shakers, and okay, or that's enough. We're putting you back on the shelf. We're done with you now. And that's how our culture gets treated sometimes, our traditions, because they don't know better. So we get treated poorly. Our drum gets mistreated. But our drum, that's supposed to be the heartbeat of our people, of our community. Again, we want to familiarize them with our way of life. They don't got to pass a quiz or a test, but they got to be familiar, got to be comfortable so they could respect it and do it in a good way. So we teach them about the drum, and we share with them the stories and the teachings so they know what to do. So we want to bring awareness to our drum, how to respect the drum, how to respect the singers, and how to be connected with our people. That drum brings life to our people, brings healing, and it's important that we respect it that way. Whenever I get a chance, I bring them on a medicine walk. If it's the right time of year, if their medicine's ready. We want to show them how to respect that medicine, how to harvest it without hurting it, so it will grow back. We want to collect this medicine to help us, but we want to come back next year at the same time and it's still be there. It's still there to help us. So we bring them on the medicine walk where they can retrace their steps, the steps of their ancestors, and also to learn how to show that kindness to that plant, to that medicine. So when we take it, it comes back again, and we could keep using it again. And when we hunt the buffalo, the old days, hunting was dangerous. A lot of people would die hunting. The old stories, they'd get trampled, they'd get hit, they'd fall off their horses. So it was dangerous. So the men would hunt the buffalo. And sometimes they'd give their lives for those buffalo. And the woman, they'd take care of that buffalo. They'd get the hide, they'd make our clothes, they'd make our lodges, they'd get all the tools, they'd prepare all the meat. So there was this balance in life that went around that buffalo between a man and a woman. And that balance in life is what you're supposed to have as a Anishinaabe person. You're supposed to have balance in your life.
I was taught you put the tobacco down and you pray to those buffalo because they go in herds, you know. You don't go hunting for a single buffalo. You put your tobacco down and there'll be one buffalo that comes out and it'll look at you and they're saying, okay, I'm giving myself to you. It's a really spiritual thing.
So we harvested that buffalo. We offered our tobacco and we're going to use every part of it. We're working the hide again. We're getting the meat again. We're going to use its bones again. And he's going to help us live a good life so we can be strong again.
It was great to see our students get exposed to this because looking at our students, none of them are hunters. None of them knew or know how to take an animal, the steps in offering and giving thanks. And when you take something, you offer it tobacco, you say a prayer, you say thank you, and letting them get that aspect, whether they do it ever again in their life, but knowing that they've had that experience of saying thanks and acknowledging what we're going to do with this animal that we harvest, of where it's going.
It was nice to see the kids be hands-on and help out with the field dressing and stuff so they could learn that. Because there might be a point in time where we won't have anything we have now. We won't be able to go to the store and buy something.
Special, like a child was coming into life. How much energy they gave to the kids and how much energy they gave the people that were around the ceremony or around the buffalo hunt. It was really, really beautiful, really, really spiritual in that sense. Something was there.
A little bit of an angle, just a little bit, but you don't want to push hard. You're kind of more doing a repetitive motion. So you're just kind of more just push, 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 push. You feel the skin peel it?
Yeah.
You feel your blood quantum going up a little bit? It's a spiritual game. People think that these things are just like for fun. There's lots of teachings and stories that come with the game. really fun game. It keeps you in good shape. I really wish they would implement it in the school system, just because I feel like a lot of students would love it. And of course, everything evolves, like today now you got hand games. It's kind of like a sport, but it still has a spiritual connection. When I was taught about hand games, there's a lot of different creation stories about the game. Two animals they were both looking for food. They come over this deer carcass, and this deer carcass had some meat left on it. So they looked at that carcass, they didn't want to fight over it. They played for that carcass. And all these stories, you'll hear that it was to stop a conflict or stop something bad from happening. A lot of these things were gifted to us from Creator to make peace or prevent things from happening.
Feel it.
There's different types of wigwams. There's the dome-shaped wigwam, they got a teepee wigwam, and the one we built for this camp, Kigonan, that's the long bent-over wigwam. So the old ways, we used to build these in the woodland. Once we came to the plains, we started building the teepees, and the teepee became what we lived in. But the wigwam was still there, it was still part of our ceremonies. It's a piece of history that we kind of lost in Turtle Mountains. Go. Good, you go first. Cut all the branches off. Oh no, that one! No, don't cut your finger. I've only met one person here who could build one, but now I could build one. Now these children could build one. So in my camps, I want to teach these wigwams.
When we were woodland people, we would live in wigwam. But as we moved on to the plains, it was a big life change. We were always traveling.
See how those are going to make an X in the front, so one go that way, one go that way, kick them back. Excuse me, okay. Walk straight back, walk straight back.
If you look behind me, the wigwam's back there, and you can't take a wigwam apart and take it with you. You can't travel with it as easy as you can with a teepee. We use it because it was easy to travel with.
So maybe the youth, they won't be able to build this by themselves, but that sleeping bear in there, it's going to wake up one day. And when it does, they'll want to go back again. They'll want to do these things again. So instead of just having one person left in Turtle Mountain who could build one, now there's a lot more. Well, these old people, they always told me about these young people. They have a really hard time. They're scared almost. I think they're intimidated to go to a ceremony. And they encouraged me, if I could do that, if I could start introducing our youth and our children to the ceremonies any way I can. So I started doing these camps, and I started getting this idea, well, maybe I should introduce them to ceremonies if I have an opportunity. In that sweat lodge, we introduce them to that to show them it's okay.
I look at it as a very, very powerful place, but also a comfort place to go to. You should be able to go to a sweat lodge and be very, very comfortable about going there. Very comfortable about talking to the Creator, whatever feelings or whatever you need to let go. That's part of it, to let that go, to find happiness again in your life, find strength, in that way. You talk to the Creator that way too.
Meditating, praying. I feel good because, yes, it gets hot, but when you come out, you're refreshed. I love sharing my culture. I love sharing my ways, and a sweat lodge is very, to me, medicinal, and I think these young people need to experience something like that. I did bring a couple of girls into the lodge, and even when we were in there, I was explaining the purpose of it and how their conduct should be in there and what to expect. And I think overall, the girls that did come in with me, I think they really enjoyed it because, it should be a place you feel good.
There's this intimidation that comes with our way of life sometimes from the older generations. They don't really respect it all the time. They don't support it. They kind of frown on it. And that rubs off on the youth, on the children. They carry these negative thoughts about our way of life. So that colonization, it worked for a lot of our people. But we want to show the youth and show our people that this is beautiful. This is a good way of life.
Bonjour, Anin, Washko Say, Gizans.
Bonjour, Mercedes Versier, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Anin, Ryder, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Anin, Nora Noenzo, and
Bonjour, Dewe Magni Dug, Aninum Gum Aji Ayayeg, Animaki, Wabigon, Equa, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Lane, Indigenous cause.
Anin, Honey, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Anin, Chris, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Kianabazo, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Anin, Harmony, Indigenous cause.
Bonjour, Anin, Wabishki, Mayangan, and Indigenous cause.
I probably have the most fun building the teepee.
My favorite part of the camp was the sweats, the walks, the food.
The food, especially the tacos. Building the teepee, the wigwam, and the sweat lodge.
Being hands-on with the buffalo, like actually being hands-on with it, and I was actually like kind of telling myself not to get involved, but I did. So I was proud of myself at the end of that day.
Lacrosse and hand games, that was my favorite part.
With the drumming, it just sent chills through my body whenever they first started, and I like power, so I like the drumming.
My favorite part was probably building the sweats and the wigwam.
I'm pretty sure like hand games and like lacrosse are one of the best games to play out here. What I really enjoyed about this camp was probably playing lacrosse and building the sweat lodge.
What I enjoyed about the camp was playing lacrosse, learning how to play drums, and learning a lot of the language.
Okay, so Marshall, he doesn't talk much, but that's okay. He's really good at learning it, like he's really good at teaching it.
Marshall, he is a good person. He's a very nice person. I didn't think so because he has that mean mug to him. But whenever you meet him, he's really a nice person. He likes to joke around. He likes to laugh.
Keenan, and he never fails to put a smile on anybody's face.
He's really nice. I like him, yeah. But the only thing that's crusty about him is that he takes our phones. That's not so cool. But yeah, he's funny. I like him.
They're good teachers. I liked them. I enjoyed them. We did some fun stuff. It didn't seem fun, but it was fun. It was fun, trust me.
We want to show the youth and show our people that this is beautiful. This is a good way of life. When you live this way of life, you treat yourself better. You'll treat others better.
Here we get to teach them and immerse them and show them how we really lived and how beautiful it was.
Embrace who you are. Embrace your heritage. Embrace the past of your people, your culture, anything that you could learn about what your ancestors went through, the ceremonies they had, the things that made them who they were.
Got to carry it on, and who's, when we're gone, who's going to carry it?
Well,